Am I the asshole for secretly hating my mother-in-law? I mean, people openly hate their mother-in-law, so what's the difference if you secretly hate her? We will start from the beginning. When my now husband, 31 male, and I, 28 female, met, he asked me up front, did I want any children? I told him no. He has 2 children from a previous marriage, 13-year-old girl and 11-year-old boy. So he scheduled a vasectomy. A little over a year later, we decided to move in together and he proposed the day I officially move in with him. Everything was great. I got offered a great job about 2 weeks after the move and I couldn't be happier. Then about the 4th or 5th week, I took a pregnancy test just to reassure myself because I didn't have a regular cycle at the time and it was positive. I called my husband freaking out. He came home and I'd taken 5 different tests at this point, all positive. He called his parents and told them the news and his mom said, "Is it even yours?" This literally broke something in me because my husband is the first person that's ever treated me right. He gets him off the phone shortly after saying yes, but I'm going to the doctor to get more information. He goes to the doctor the next day and they tell him in fact he does have a few live swimmers. Not many, but it only takes one. Which for him, this erases any doubts that it might not be his baby. And we talked everything over and decided to keep the baby rather than putting it up for adoption. He tells his parents this and they're skeptical, but they accept. A few weeks pass and I overhear his mom on the phone making comments like, "Yeah, I got another grandbaby on the way. Yes, he did have a vasectomy. He sure did. I paid for it. As she walks to a different room and shuts the door. Over the span of my pregnancy, she makes comments like, "I'm not the one that made that baby. And she's going to have to understand that your kids come first." Keep in mind that this was in the middle of the pandemic and no one was allowed to go in with me to my doctor's appointments. So when it came time to find out the gender, my husband and I decided that I would tell them to give me the results in an envelope that he and I could open together. They did the necessary scans and confirmed with my blood work. We opened the envelope together and it's a girl. I wanted a girl so bad. I had already decided on a girl name because my husband said it was a boy the whole time and promised me I could name her if it was a girl. We shared the news with our families and friends. The next time I visit my mom, 2 hours away, she gives me a very cute purple baby outfit with little elephants on it. I get home and mention it to my mother-in-law and she says in a low tone, "I wanted to get you your baby clothes first. I was waiting for the next sonogram to make sure it was a girl though." This really rubbed me the wrong way because this is my parents' first, probably only biological grandchild. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, has 5 other grandchildren, minus my daughter, 6 in all. Fast forward to my daughter being born, and we can have no visitors in the hospital, and we get stuck there for almost a week because my daughter came late in the night after being in labor for over a day, and they had to do blood work due to her running fever when she was born, so they held us over the weekend. Everything turned out fine in the end. My daughter turned 1, and my husband started noticing the tension between me and his mother and was constantly asking me about it. So I decided to be the bigger person and wipe the clean slate if his mother apologized. He told her what was said, and we all sat down after dinner and both of his parents apologized, but they also played victim and said that it was justified because they paid for his vasectomy and why couldn't I see their point in making jokes about the situation. I was angry, but I let it go for my own mental health and for the sake of my marriage, but I secretly hate my mother-in-law. Am I the asshole? Absolutely not. Like I said, people publicly hate their mother-in-law. There's nothing wrong with that. And for good reason too sometimes. In these kind of situations, you just have to maintain your distance. Your priority is your husband and your kids. You do not have to have a good relationship with his mom. Would it be nice? Of course, but you do not have to, right? Why the hell did they pay for his vasectomy? That's even weirder to me. And then flaunting it in their face, like, you should be smart. Everyone knows vasectomies aren't even 100% certain that it will prevent pregnancies. There's only one way to prevent pregnancies and not sleeping with someone else. That's the only for sure way that you will not have a baby. Nothing is 100% guarantee. And then I don't like fidelity jokes. I don't think they're funny. I think they're distasteful. If you want to have a relationship with her and you seem hurt, which I can very much tell, have that conversation with her and draw your boundaries and realize that if she crosses it, she doesn't care about you. So people are different. You have to learn about their quirks and stuff and like what their sense of humor and things are. And then once you understand that some things rub people the wrong way, if you continue to do so, then they don't respect you. Yeah, but it's not a bad thing. Like, you can have these negative emotions towards her, but I think if you want to continue to have a relationship or you want to be in her life presently, actively, then you should have a conversation. Or if you don't care, you just step back and you let your husband deal with that shit.
Am I the asshole for calling my dad a good boy at his 56th birthday? What do you think?
It's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
It is funny.
Yeah. Me, 26, male, and my wife, 27, female, were driving to my father's party when we got a phone call. It was from my mother. She told us that my dad wanted a serious birthday this year and not to embarrass myself.
Dude, I don't know what I would do. I don't know. I hate my mom. And if she called me and was like, please don't embarrass yourself, I'd be like, what have I done in my life that my mother has to call me before the birthday to be like, please don't be you.
Yeah.
Like, that's awful. Holy shit.
Get ready. Get fucking ready.
And I already know from the title, you did not do that.
Yeah.
You did not embarrass your dad.
Yeah.
You 1000% embarrassed your dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me give you a little context for why she said what she said.
Okay.
When I was 12, I used to pull a lot of pranks. I always thought it was funny and harmless, but my family didn't so. I used to put toothpaste in my dad's coffee and put hair dye in my mom's shampoo and stuff like that. So I kept this up through my teenage and adult years, and every time I come over for a holiday, I would do something to prank them, especially on birthdays. So you see why she would ask this.
I know I'm supposed to find him annoying.
Sorry, do you want me to do the annoying voice that I read this as? Because I got annoyed at this point.
No. You should terrorize your parents. I really think you should. Even if they're good, nice people that lovingly took care of you, you should make them think that they gave birth to the tame version of the devil.
Okay.
You should be rocking up with silly string. Spraying it on your dad's bald head, making him look like he's got hair.
Flashing the words, do not attempt this at home, kids. Do not attempt this at home, kids.
You should totally attempt this at home, kids.
No, we are joking. /S.
I am being completely serious.
So we got to the party, and me and my wife start putting the presents on the table, and we start helping with decorations, and then we got to the birthday cake. Now, this is where I think that I was the asshole.
Okay.
I go up to my father, and we start talking about how he was doing and other things. Then I think it would be a great idea to pull a TikTok prank on him. He's a retired police officer, and recently I've seen this TikTok where a guy would go up and ask for an officer's name and badge number, and when that officer gave it to him, he would say, "Good boy." So I asked my dad for his old name and badge number. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I asked my dad for his old name and his badge number, and after he told me I said "good boy," he was livid when I said this. He was livid when I said this and stormed out the venue. This is not even at their house, apparently. The venue.
Okay, yeah.
My mom chased after him and told me that this was supposed to be serious and told me I was an asshole. So am I?
I'm supposed to be against this guy?
A guy was going to fight my dad in a road rage incident and didn't see me in the passenger seat. His behavior changed real quick once I got out of the car and charged him. We were on a narrow street, so only one car could pass at a time. Suddenly, a car tries to exit a parking lot and go in our direction. She stops and is blocking our path. We can't go back as we would need to reverse the whole length of the street. Then this guy comes out of the parking lot on foot and asks if there is a problem here. My dad assumed he was some onlooker trying to see if everything is okay, so he got out of the car and explains the situation. Then this guy goes over to the car that is blocking our way, tells the woman not to move, and then comes over to my dad and asks him, "What are you going to do about it?" Turns out it's the brother of the woman in the car blocking our way. My dad is standing in defense position with his car door open in between him and the guy. Meanwhile, I'm in the front seat just in shock that this is happening. This guy is taller than my dad, so he crouches by a bit, puts his hand on his knees, and looks at my dad with a serious look on his stupid face as to say, "You can't do anything." At this point, I can't believe this is happening and lower my head in disbelief. That's when I hear a bang, and I thought that this guy hit my dad. This primal anger came over me, and I quickly exited the car and started yelling at this dude. He was skinny but tall. I was taller than him. I weigh 238 pounds and have been going to the gym for the past year. This guy went from trying to fight to immediately backing up as I started charging him while yelling. He started explaining himself to me while walking backwards, like I was his teacher and he was in trouble. Started yelling at me that my dad swore at his sister and that he was defending her. It was hilarious that he was lying to me because I was right there and my dad never swore. My dad ran over and stopped me from going any further and kept telling me to calm down as this guy was walking away from us. I saw this look of fear in his face when I got out and started yelling. I'm a very introverted and peaceful person, and I don't think I have scared anyone before this point. This guy was 100% looking to fight my dad. That bang I heard was him kicking in the car door. Luckily, he didn't hit or injure my dad. I'm glad I was there. And the lady blocking our way also backed up once I got out, although she was screaming profanity at us the whole time. After that, we just got in the car and drove off. You know, thankfully you were there to protect your dad. Like, I can only imagine if he was there alone. and they were there just to overpower him. It's okay to bully the bullies. Bullies only respect violence, so good job.
Am I the asshole for excluding my brother from my wedding because of his quote-unquote fun fact? I have an older brother, David, 41. David has boundary issues and was in the learning disabled classes. My parents never let him out of the home. He has a very rough personality, and because he was never allowed to work or do anything, so he's in his 40s, he doesn't have friends. He still dominates the conversation at every holiday with fun facts, and goes off on those and doesn't realize no one is listening. My other siblings and I just don't really like David because my parents let him do whatever and just dominate whatever social settings we are in. My older sister eloped because of David. Being my mom kept trying to find David a place at her wedding. I'm getting married to Mel, and my youngest brother Nick is my best man. My sister, who is close to Mel, is in the bridal party. Her husband is one of the best men, and their son is a ring bearer. My wife wants a real wedding and not be forced to elope like my sister did. David has no place. He's not going to be invited because the first thing he did was insult the ring I got from Mel with his fun facts about how diamonds are worthless and do not resell well. I should have got her a second-hand engagement or a colored stone engagement ring. We then got a history on engagement rings and marriage traditions. We tried shutting him up, but he wouldn't, and my mom said, "Let the professor talk." Even at 40, she thinks my brother's fun facts are cute. This put a hard no on Mel's stance that my brother can't come to the wedding. If my parents defend him, even once, they are not coming. She's not having no wedding like my sister, and it's time for David to be put in his place. Mom called and asked about wedding planning, and I told her she wasn't involved after what happened to my sister wedding dress shopping. Mom brought David, who told everyone his fun facts about wedding dress history. That's when my sister decided to elope. I told Mom if she and Dad wanted to come to the wedding as guests, they can, but David isn't invited. Mom didn't talk for a while. I think she started crying because my dad took over the phone call. I told him what upset Mom and said David isn't invited and Mom can't be trusted to be involved in wedding planning without David tagging along. Dad said he doesn't understand why we all hate David, and I told him what is wrong with his fun facts. My dad said, "The boy likes to talk and there's no harm in it." I told my dad that's the thing, there is harm in David's fun facts, and now no one wants to be around him. Dad started arguing, saying stuff in defense of David, and I told Dad we are at a stalemate and I guess all three of you won't be coming to my wedding. I'm sorry, but that's how it is. I ended the conversation with my dad, and my mom has been upset, texting like a crazy person to everyone about how we all need to understand David. What I'm doing is mean. Mel feels this whole thing is why I can't invite David or my parents. I agree that they can't even be trusted to come to my wedding without sneaking David in. Am I the asshole?
Oh man, that one's tough.
Am I the asshole for refusing to leave a wedding because I wore a dress that looks white under a black light? A few months ago, I attended a close friend's wedding with my husband. I wore a yellow dress. Think like Belle in Beauty and the Beast. Bumblebee yellow. So yellow that I did not question if it was appropriate or not to wear to a wedding, and neither did my friends or family. I arrive at the wedding, we have the ceremony, the cocktail hour, the dinner, and the reception. I get many compliments on the dress, and the bride even comments on how much she loves it several times. Towards the end of the reception, the venue dimmed the lights and turned on some black lights. These black lights made my dress appear more white than yellow. A member of the wedding party approached me while the black lights were on and stated that I needed to leave because my dress was white and inappropriate. I stated that the dress was yellow, but the black lights were making it appear white. The member of the wedding party stated that if I didn't leave, she would make me. I stated I'm here to celebrate my friend, repeated that the dress was yellow, and said I will not be leaving early. Bride and groom hadn't left yet, and I came from overseas. The conversation, while heated, did not have raised voices or foul language from either side, but I will say it was tense. The wedding party member walked off, and I watched as they immediately went to talk to the groom, angrily pointing in my direction. The groom shrugged and continued to dance. The next morning, I was approached by a different friend at breakfast, not in the wedding party, who stated that they heard what happened and that I should have left when asked because it made people uncomfortable, and that I made it about partying rather than respecting wedding etiquette. I have felt incredibly embarrassed about this since. So am I the asshole for not leaving the wedding when asked?
What the fuck? No. Bro, my dress is yellow. Whatever happens when the black lights come on, not my responsibility. Bet you the bride doesn't even look like she's in a white dress anymore. She probably looks like she's in a freaking neon green dress. So, no.